like quick push in there, and I was like, oh god, it's going to be touch or go. Get to the toilet and then get the catheter out and then go to put it in, and as I put it in, just wet myself everywhere. Hey, what's up guys? Ben Clark here for Adaptive Form, and welcome to today's video where I'm going to be talking about my bladder. Now, as you saw by the title, it was still wetting myself at 30. I'm not quite 30 yet, but I thought that sounds a lot better than saying still wetting myself at 29. So it rolls off the tongue a little bit better. But yeah, in today's video, hopefully I'm going to be sort of explaining why that's the case, because I feel like there's some misconceptions sometimes around spinal cord injury and other things that are like spinal cord injury, whereby people just assume that the limbs are paralyzed and that's it. So I wanted to sort of break those sort of misconceptions and explain some of the other things. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the bladder, and also to maybe share some experiences on how that affects my life as well. Both, negatively, not really too many positives to wetting yourself, but hopefully I'll be able to show you how I see the positivities in all aspects of my various difficulties that I have to go through. So yeah, let's start with sort of the misconception around the spinal cord injuries. And the fact is, when you're paralyzed, there's a lot more things that go paralyzed than just your legs. Obviously, the legs are the very visual part. You can see they're not working because the person's using a wheelchair. However, there are other things. So with the bladder especially, the bladder needs to expand to fill up with urine and then contract to let the urine out. When it's paralyzed, that isn't happening. So it sort of is kind of like an empty sac. However, there are things like spasms you get. So when a spasm happens, you're going to wet yourself. This could be because it's too full and it can't cope and it spasms and then you wet yourself. Or it could be that it's so flaccid that it just streams out automatically. There's no sort of regulation there to help it stay in the bladder until you're ready to go. Because if you're able-bodied as such, then you can just go to the toilet whenever you please, and that's great. However, with us, quite often is the case that it doesn't happen, and it happens at nearly every single level of injury, whether you're very high up or whether you're low down. The difference in that is that we can manage them differently. So if you're a high-level person, you've probably got an indwelling catheter, which means probably a suprapubic as well. So the catheter is inside the stomach, just below the belly button. There's a balloon inside to keep it in place, and then that's connected to a leg bag. And then the leg bag is there, and you might have a carer to empty it. Maybe if you're a little bit lower level, you can maybe empty it yourself. But this is some of the difficulties that we have to go through. Was my solution initially when I was in hospital. When I first came out, I had a bag on, and yeah, that was sort of what it was all about. So yeah, it was. You have to empty your bag, and it's a great solution. It means that I'm not wetting myself on a regular basis, which is fantastic. However, that still does happen. Maybe the bag's full, maybe I'm feeling a little unwell, I've got UTI perhaps, and like the passageways aren't quite working as well as I want it to, so what we call bypassing, and then I urinate normally through my penis. So yeah, there's still opportunities there to wet yourself. I moved on then to have a flip flow, which is something that maybe some quadriplegics have, some paraplegics have, where you still got the indwelling catheter, suprapubically, so still just below your belly button, but this time instead of a bag attached, you have a tap. Now this is great because it meant that your bladder can expand and contract naturally as it would. However, it meant that you have to kind of know when you need to go to the toilet, otherwise you can have all sorts of issues there, especially with the wetting yourself kind of side of it. Then the other solution is what I've got right now, which is a mitrophanol. So there's still a hole in the stomach, and we have a intermittent catheter. So the catheter is separate, so I don't have one in me all the time. I put the catheter in, I urinate, and then I take it out, and then I do it again when I need it with a new one. And then I have on my tummy, I have a stopper in there to make sure that it's not just coming out as it wants to. And yeah, that's my solution now. It means that I don't have a catheter in all the time, which is a bit more pleasing aesthetically, and it's a little bit nicer that I don't have to have this thing that I'm worried about falling out all the time. So that's just another solution for that. And then moving on, you've got another intermittent catheter which you put in urethrally, however you say that word. Anyway, so that's when you put it in through urethra. Again, another difficult word to say. And urinate with that. And then the last one I know about is condom catheters, which is like a condom, except for at the end you put on a bag, or you can just, I can't remember exactly all the connections, but it's one that it means that you can just be yourself. Sometimes those are the lower level injuries or incomplete injuries, because they can sort of control that flow maybe, or that if they can't control it, it does come out urethally and then they can urinate that way. So various different ways there that people do manage their bladders. However, despite all of this, we all still wet ourselves, and it can cause some funny situations, if I'm honest. So there's been a few times in my life that it's just been completely inconvenient. You know, when I'm in bed at night and I'm trying to sleep and maybe I haven't quite woken up to realise that I need to go to the toilet, and I wet the bed. And, you know, you don't expect to be wet in the bed when you're nearly 30 years old. But with this, it's sort of something that you have to come to sort of terms with, really. You can plan as much as you want, and I do try to plan. You know, I try and make sure I set my sleep pattern and my water intake at the right time, so it meant that I have a good night's sleep. But it still happens from time to time. You can't help it, especially if I've gone out drinking or something. These issues do occur. And sometimes it happens outside of the bed too. So there's been some experiences in my life, and you saw in the thumbnail there's a picture. So on that day, I'll explain what happened. I was having some drinks with some friends while we were on holiday in Italy, and I needed the toilet. So I was like, right, I need to get to the toilet, and there was nowhere really nearby. So I was like, I know there's definitely a disabled toilet at the hotel we're staying at. So it was only 5 minutes down the road, but I was like, quick push in there. And I was like, oh God, it's going to be touch or go. Get to the toilet and then get the catheter out and then go to put it in. And as I put it in, just wet myself everywhere. And again, as you saw by the photo, I was wearing some lovely yellow shorts. So this thing was very obvious that this had happened. And yeah, that caused kind of an issue there, because my girlfriend was down there. I had her phone and my phone, so I couldn't call her to come and help me. So basically I had to solve this situation what I was in. So basically I'd wet myself, but I'd gone to the toilet as well. So there was a big wet patch here, and I was like, I'm going to have to just sit myself under the hand dryer, really. So leant back, put on the hairdryer, and sort of was here hair drying myself, putting more water on to get the smell out as well. And then, doing this for like a good 10 minutes. Everybody's obviously wondering where I am. And then I come back and I'm like, well, it's kind of obvious. So I'm like, I could either pretend it's not there and it's still very obvious to everyone, or, I could just admit, like, hey guys, luckily these other people were with me. Some of them are in wheelchairs, or they knew people in wheelchairs, just with the nature of the trip we were on. And I was like, hey, look, I pissed myself. And we all had a good laugh about it. And that's kind of seeing the positivities in the situation, because at the end of the day, it's kind of funny, really. It's inconvenient, it's annoying, it's like not great, but we can sort of turn that around and sort of see the best of the situation, which is that it's kind of funny when it happens. And, it's happened on various different occasions throughout my life. On one of the first dates I had with my current girlfriend, I say current, that sounds like I'm going to have another one in the future, with Alice, as you know. But yeah, with her, it's been on many times in the early days of dates that I've wet myself, and I've sort of tried to cover it up because I'm a bit embarrassed and I want it to go well, and I don't want her to feel like this is a weird thing. So, but as time's gone on, as she's got to know me better, we both have a laugh about it. And and I always say it would be funny if you did it too. I mean, it would be nice if you did, wouldn't it? I think that's quite a courteous thing to do if she wet herself, to make me feel better. She hasn't done that yet though, so yeah, maybe not as nice as I thought she was. Anyway, so yeah, it's kind of this video was to try and sort of break that misconception of it's just paralysis in the legs, and to sort of share that experience with you, what I had. I can't think of anything else that comes to the top of my mind right now, so I guess that is a good place to end this video. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Hopefully from that you sort of learn a little bit more about the bladder with spinal cord injury and my sort of story there as well. But anyway, if you did like that video, make sure you hit the thumbs up button. And if you have any questions about bladder, or if you have a funny story about your bladder, please let me know down below. We can all have a laugh about it, bring out the positivity out of the situation and make it all good. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel before, then hit that subscribe button. There's more great videos like this. There's lots of fitness videos. There's interviews with other disabled people. And yeah, go and enjoy it to all your heart's content. Thank you very much for watching, guys. I will see you next time.